Spears and Steinberg.
You know what the fuck it is?
Aries and Andy, Jew and the Jerk.
You know it's time to get this work.
The real raw, gutter, uncut cocaine. No political corrections.
Always sleep.
Fuck being awoke. We discuss politics and jokes.
Scribe, we lit.
There's levels to this shit. Before you was sucking on your mama's tit.
Aries Spears don't give a fuck.
We talk about race a lot, racism,
Sexism.
Much love to my loyal bitch bag holders.
Rollers, clip loaders.
We got them in the folders.
The whole world on our shoulders.
Spears and Steinberg.
Yeah.
Come with me if you want to live. I was trying to do the musical score to Terminator. It starts off that way. But then I don't know if that got that melody right. Come with me if you want to live.
It sounds a little like Rocky in the beginning.
Which part?
The doo-doo-doo.
Do-do-do. Nah.
Yeah, that was a little...
Nah, nothing like Rocky.
Mm.
Rocky's then.
Okay.
Jesus Christ.
That's why I don't play an instrument.
Come here. So you know what we're talking about. But before we get to that, a couple exciting things in the world of entertainment from the... What do we call it? The boob? What they call TV? Like they call it
The boob tube.
the boob tube. Is that what it is? The boob tube. Why do they call it boob?
Because they used to make fun of people who watched all the time. They were boobs.
Okay.
So it's
yeah.
boob tube.
Because I was gonna say, silver screen is the movies, but the boob tube. August 6th on HBO. It's back. Winning Time.
Yeah.
It's officially back. Season 2. I am so curious to know where they are going with this, even though I think we kind of know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the behind the scenes, we have no idea what they're going
Right.
to write about. And that's...
Yes. Are you going to week to week it, or are you going to binge it?
I'll try to binge some of it, but I know I'm going to check out the new episodes when I'm at home. I can't help it.
You gotta fuck that.
I can't do it.
You one chip at a time, huh?
If necessary. If necessary. I just... there's not a... there's a lot on.
Uh-huh.
Because, Hulu...
Right.
Netflix, Disney, but
Right.
there's only so many things I want to see. I want to see that new. I saw the first episode of the new Marvel thing with
Sam Jackson?
yeah, Sam Jackson. What's his name in that?
Nick Fury.
Yeah, Nick Fury.
Is it his? It's about him?
It's not titled his, but as Nick
Right.
Fury episode, it has a lot of. But it's good. The first episode was good.
I just can't bring myself to watch anything Marvel on a small screen.
Get it bigger. You got
It feels like no, but it feels like that. Those are movie events.
Yeah, and this is, let me tell you, dude, when he says this, his screen in his man cave is the size of like some of the small screens when you go to those teeny movies theaters, like in New York.
Yeah.
Some of those little movie houses, your screen's as big as those.
Well,
So you could pretend you could just pop some popcorn, burn some butter, and you would think you were at the movie
I like
theater.
that. Burn some butter. I know you don't care about this, but I gotta say, they're bringing back season 2 of Sex in the City, and I think Kim Cattrall makes a cameo.
She does.
But here's why I'm so done with this. I'm done, and I stopped. I didn't even watch the whole season of season 1. Once Big died, I was done.
Yeah.
But here's why I'm really done with the show now. Besides the fact that Samantha's not in it, major piece to that puzzle. Besides the fact that they killed off my nigga Big, here's what they've done now. Cynthia Nixon, who plays Miranda, is gay on the show. She has a gay girlfriend. Now, for the 6 seasons that show was on HBO, even the 2 movies that came after the show was done, we grew up to know this character as a straight woman. She fucked a lot of dudes, dated a lot of dudes. She married Steve, had her son Brady with him. We saw him in the revamp new seasons as a teenager now. We knew her character as a straight woman. This feels to me like an agenda because they made her character gay because that's what she is in real life. And this to me feels like an agenda. It'd be one thing if we established from season 1 all throughout its whole run that she was bisexual. But she was straight as a fucking arrow.
But she never had good relationships. Even the relationship.
None of them did.
But even the relationship with Steve was off and on. So,
but the climax to that relationship was they figured it out.
Yeah.
They got married. They had a son. And like I said, if there were hints of and Miranda's character, if you knew anything about Sex and the City, was the one who was all business, all boss. The idea of a gay relationship, she would be the one of the quartet to go, So again, if they had planted the seeds along the way, I'd go, okay, fine. But dude, you sold us on who she was for 6 seasons and 2 movies. And this to me just feels like, hey, this is the hip thing to do. Now all of a sudden she's gay because that's what she is in real life. What a coincidence. That's an agenda.
You know what, though? You know how you say that it takes you out of the character and changes everything for you? That's the same way those people must feel when they find out their mom or dad is gay after they've been married for 20-something odd years, have some kids, and then one of them comes out and goes, you know. It happens in real life. Is what I'm saying.
But okay. So what I was going to say was, I didn't know if you were getting at sarcastically. Yo, it happens.
Yeah,
and you're right, it does. But this don't feel like that. I'm just saying this feels like she went, I'm gay in real life, so let's make Miranda gay. In which I'm saying, why would you do that? That's not who that character was.
Well, because she always had real relationships. And then when they do address it, when they're only eating ice cream and there's no more romance in their life. And yeah, they were a couple because they had a kid and that they felt comfortable together, but that didn't make them a couple.
But in other words, there was an episode where Samantha experimented with a gay relationship. But that's who Samantha was.
Well, she was a sexual beast.
She was a sexual beast. So Samantha would do that, whereas Miranda would go,
But maybe that would why it took her so long to come out. Then
that's an agenda.
I'm just saying, because
I know you're playing devil's advocate.
No, and I'm also saying because of the relationships that she did have throughout the series. And but see, I didn't watch it like you did.
I'm a diehard.
So you're all in.
That's why I'm saying it's bullshit.
So for me, it's easy for me to go, yeah, well, this could happen. This happens in real life. So
in other words, they fucking with the gumbo. I know the gumbo. When I first had the gumbo, and all the years I've been eating the gumbo, I knew I could count on the Aduli shrimp. Is that what you say? Aduli?
Yeah.
Adul? Whatever that New Orleans sausage is. That sausage.
Andouille.
The dooley. I could count on the rice. I could count on the shrimp. I knew the ingredients to the award-winning gumbo. Now you done took out Samantha. Now Big is dead. Now Miranda's gay. You fucking with my shit, man. You burning my grits. What was Coach Oates and Remember the Titans? You overcooking my grits, Yotes. Whatever that white coach was when Denzel said that to him. They fucking with my grits, Andy.
It happens, man. Your girl still, even though she's much older now, still has her legs working for her.
Oh, Charlotte?
Yeah.
Ooh, them legs, nigga.
They're still good.
Them legs, boy. All right, let's get to it. Of this 3-part documentary, Arnold, I love the first 2 episodes. Seeing, of course, the origins, the beginning. I knew my favorite was going to be episode 2 because he's in the lane. He's in the prime. He's Arnold. He's the movie star. So I love seeing that. And the third one, I damn near went to sleep on. The politics of it.
I think that third one shows his development and who he is. So we'll still get into that one. Plus, it also shows the relationship that he had, how he fucked up his relationship. Right. So it's interesting. But I asked you this question already. You never saw Pumping Iron, though. You didn't.
No, and I'm going to see it.
Yeah, you got to watch. You got to see it because it shows you who he is at that youthful stage in his life.
Right.
And it's not the best. Actually, it's not his best look. But you know what I really like about him? He owns everything he's ever done.
Arnold, yes.
Yeah. And that's what makes this even better is because there's no apologies. This is just where he was at that time. Right. And he just talks about it that way. And he even admits that it's throughout the series, he admits that it's difficult to talk about. And yeah, there's these pieces, but it's his life. And he can't run from who he was and who he is now. So
is in terms of, and I don't even know if you could say so because he is who he is, which at times, he would be the butt of the joke, But it was what it was. Like, my question is, and before you answer, is The Rock today's Arnold? Because when you think about The Rock, and I know we've had this conversation, I know people have said this through email, I know Neri will defend The Rock to the death because that's his guy. But, you know, people go, well, The Rock is The Rock in every movie. A la Arnold Schwarzenegger is Arnold Schwarzenegger in every movie. But to me, The Rock oozes charisma. I don't know if what you call Arnold, what he does is charismatic, but he oozes something. You know, as far as the action figure, you know, obviously the muscles, the look, you bought into it.
Because it's confidence. It's his confidence just oozes off of him.
But it's not charisma, right?
I think there is charisma to him, but it isn't that same kind like The Rock has. Rock has. Well, you know what? It's unfair to say that. I will say that because and they'll talk about it in this too, when he does twins, Arnold can be funny. You see the beginning of his career, you're like, not funny. But then when you when you watch Pumping Iron, you can see a little bit of he doesn't take himself or life overly serious.
Right.
And so, yeah, maybe
he took his journey and his goals serious.
Yeah. Like which
is so fucking, listen, man, you know, Sly, Willis, Schwarzenegger, that's my childhood. That's my childhood. So I have an affinity for these dudes, but the respect level after watching this, through the roof.
Yeah. But like he said, he visualized it from the beginning. He'd always visualize it. And then he would look how to get to that step. Where most of us visualize it, but never don't put enough effort into the steps to get there. Or when we hit the roadblock, we change the vision. He didn't change the vision. He just tried to find the other street or avenue to get to it.
I tip your hat to this nigga for that. His confidence was Teflon, man.
He just has a different way of looking at things.
To jump ahead, he put it all in perspective when he goes, he's just a kid that came from Thal, Austria. Foreigner, thick accent, turned out to be one of the biggest movie stars of all time, rich beyond anyone's dreams, fucked the Kennedy, and became the governor. Who the fuck does that? He's the definition of only in America.
Yeah, but let me ask you this question, though. You know what his determination is. You know how he envisioned. Could someone of his ilk and where he came from and everything that he was in 1970, you know, the late 60s, 70s when he came up, could you do that today? Do you think you could really come from nothing, move here, muscles, whatever he is, and you think you could do the whole thing that he did today?
Yes. I think even more so, because with the explosion of social media, that's just another avenue, another door that you can open. As I've always said, social media has been the blessing and the curse because it gives everybody a chance, and not everybody deserves a chance. But if you're official tissue, then you're going to take that chance and you're going to make do with it.
It gives everybody a chance, but it just makes it waters down.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
But that's why I'm saying everybody shouldn't get into Studio 54.
No, and I agree with that.
And social media damn near allows everybody to get in.
Yeah, and it waters down, you know, the talent pool. But it's not whatever. It might be my own sour grapes. So.
I love the word ilk with Schwarzenegger because that just sounds like something he would say to tease you. Oh, look at this girly man with those girly boobies. Ilk. You need to hit the gym. You need to eat more protein. Look at your body. It's disgusting. Ilk. If he made fun of you and was a bully.
But when he's young, when they show the beginning pictures, even when they made Pumping Iron, he does not look like a man Arnold like he looks like now. Like not now. I'm not even talking about the age. He just had this more like boyish Nazi kind of look. And I'm not calling him a Nazi.
No. I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
And they addressed that in there too.
I know what you mean, though. Yes.
But I'm not implying that he was ever a Nazi. That's not my point of doing that. But he has that look from that region.
Until you see the gap in his teeth, if his mouth is closed, I don't expect that to come out of that body and that face. I don't expect that. But once you see the gap, yes, he looks like, put them all in the cage and lock the door. Right.
It's just, but and then he just, I think that when he talks about coming up in Tall.
Yeah.
And
Tall sounds like, Tall.
I had that in my notes.
Right.
Where it comes from sounds exactly like how he talks.
Yeah.
Which makes sense because that's how they talk there. But he, dealing with what he talks about from from understanding his dad. And, when he talked about his dad, he didn't put it down. Right. He talked about it the way that I would think that if you really went through it and understood it, that you would talk about it. Not as demeaning, not as, because you have to own what that is and that time period and where he came from. And that was the war that they were in. And, I know it's hard to give perspective to some of these things. Today, we judge everything as of right now. But he does a good job of talking about it in understanding of the past.
Right.
And I thought that was important to understand. Yeah, they went through this and still feeling, I understood. He was able to convey to me how broken those men feel. No matter what they did or what was part of their operation what they went through, they came back as losers of the war, broken, and you could understand and even empathize with that feeling of a man who thought he was doing what he was supposed to be doing, and it didn't work out any way that they imagined it happening, and his depression that he had.
I know that there's always, as I say, a white tiger in the wild. They're not the norm, but they exist. Albino gorillas exist. Do you think there are any black people in Austria? What's the black population? There can't be, right?
No, there has to be.
There has to be one nigga walk around in Austria. Austria just seems like the whitest fucking place on the planet.
But like today, but back then, back when he was young, probably not. Probably not.
I don't even think today there's black people in Austria. I know there couldn't have been when he was there. How would a Negro even find himself in Austria?
You could see yourself really easily. Look in the mirror. You're the one standing out.
Only way a nigga would end up in Austria is if he was lost. He was on his way to some other shit.
Black population in Austria. What is the racial makeup of Austria? Is Austria racially diverse? How many African people live in Austria? That's a better way to... 400,000 people.
What?
Out of 8.9 million.
What?
An estimated 400,000 have African ancestry. To have African ancestry. So that may not even... they may be very light. How do they...
light skin?
Yeah, light skin Africans. They could be. I'm not saying that they all are, but
right.
I'm saying... Because it says... Because the way they said it has ancestry. It doesn't say a number from 2010, including Egypt and Tunisia. Many would not have thought that Black Lives Matter protests that started in the United States could spill over to, I can't even say that, and it did. So, yeah. So there is, not only is there at least 40,000 people there of African ancestry, but they take that shit seriously. They were part of the Black Lives Matter movement.
Oh my God.
Look at what you have when you have a computer in your pocket.
Black Lives Matter as long as it's not in towel. Dude, I thought it was so hilarious when he said that at one point his mom was worried because he didn't have girl pics on his wall. Yeah, he said I had all these half-naked men oiled up. and what's crazy is, listen, it's hard for me to fathom this because, again, my mother was such a supporter in terms of what I wanted to do, as I believe most parents are and should be supportive of the kids' dreams. But there are parents who say shit like, have something to fall back on, become a doctor or a lawyer, something more dependable, respectable. Sometimes some parents see what you want to do as pipe dreams, which is unfortunate because, as I say, you should never kill a child's dreams. But his parents, mainly his father, didn't seem to want to be supportive. They thought it was, stupid.
Yeah. Well, it was American sport, basically, I guess.
Right.
that couldn't have been 100% true because there were contests all over. I think maybe only in America could you make a living off of it. Yeah, that has to be hard. I love that quote though from Jim Carrey, and I'm not going to say the quote because I'll mess it up, but basically about his dad could have been a great comedian if you would have, but he wanted to take the safe route and became an accountant.
Right.
Got fired 12 years later, and then they were living on the edge. They were homeless for a time.
Right.
So his quote basically is, it still may not work out if you do something safe, basically.
Right.
So you might as well do what you love.
Right.
Because that may not work out either, but at least you were doing what you loved. So I just think that it would have to be might seem very frivolous to a family that had went through a war.
Right.
They're reaping the repercussions of being on the wrong side of the war, and your son just wants to lift weights, oil himself up, and hang out with guys. It doesn't sound like it would make sense to someone, especially if you're old school and you're looking at it from that perspective. But it's funny that you say that about the guys on the wall, and he addressed it a little bit, but he doesn't address it because I knew some bodybuilders in Arizona, and a lot of the guys that are into other men. I mean, they only find that attractive. So women aren't even attractive anymore. They only see their body as what's attractive.
Obviously, being in the best of shape is the best thing for you. But as far as that look, and one of the bodybuilders that I always knew, I hope I'm getting it right. I believe I'm getting it right. Black dude by the name of Lee Haney.
Yeah, I think that's the right name.
At what point are you finished? That seems to me like a personal. And listen, again, most of the women I've spoken to, they go, disgusting, too much. That yes, a nice tone, a nice ripped cut, okay, good. But them dudes that do with the competition and the oil and the bikini draws, it's just who is that for? Because a lot of women don't find that attractive. It's too much. Unless those dudes date women that look like them, which really ain't sexy.
But a lot of those guys do date women that look like them.
That is just
because that's what they're into, that physique, that look.
That looks insane.
So you know how you say white women, small asses, no thighs?
Right.
And you see them as sticks and not sexually attractive.
Right.
Same thing. Same thing. They need that. They need that.
Feel like two rocks fucking. Like two things, like from the Fantastic Four, just two rock people fucking.
They just start bench pressing each other.
It ain't even a sex, it's a workout. Dudes that look like that, I just go, that seems like a personal, I don't know what that right word is, but not fetish, but fucking like an addiction.
But in regular life, although they look like that, they don't exactly look like that. They shred when they just work out. They take protein powder. They don't really eat. They don't drink water, so they can the skin gets really thin, so you see all the veins. They work up to looking like that for the shows. So when you see them all oiled up like that, that's the most they're going to look, and the oil makes the muscles look bigger. But when they're regular guys, they don't look as huge. They don't look as cut. They don't look as.
But they still got the traps that
come up to
connect to your earlobe, the bottom of your earlobe.
But I think the hardest part, and he talks about it a little bit, is. As you get older, you can't keep that up. And
listen, some of them dudes that they cut to older, were unrecognizable in terms of how they looked in their prime when they was max chiseled and competing. I went, that's the same dude now?
Well,
Arnold still looks, obviously his muscles don't look, but it's still, you go, that's Arnold.
Yeah.
But some of them other dudes, I couldn't even recognize them.
But Arnold's still, he's fairly healthy. He's only had a few instances. Thank you. But he had steroid use, and that can tear a person's body apart in their older age. And he's held on really well. He's fortunate that he has the money and the way to take care of himself.
Looks like wet cabbage now when his shirt is off.
He's in better shape than I am.
Well, that's, me too. Goddamn. Dude, it's a different kind of rich when you have two pet donkeys eating in your kitchen with you. Could you?
Donkeys in the kitchen?
Yeah.
If I lived in a farmhouse and like I couldn't have an animal in my house. Like if I had a farmhouse that had like a little kitchen area and you know, like what do they call those? Like those outside gazebos or whatever. You had something like that.
But no, you in the kitchen eating a bowl of Frosted Flakes and the donkeys is at the table with you.
No, because the donkey doesn't know to shit outside. You know, I'm not going to be eating and I look over and the donkey's just dropping one on the fucking kitchen floor. That does not work. I don't even care how many servants I have. I want that tile picked up and removed.
Right.
And I want a new tile in my kitchen. No, I couldn't do that. I mean, I would love, you know, when you see him go back home and, you know, you see the countryside and the whole, you know, dude, it would, not that you would want to go there and spend a year there.
Right.
But it would be nice to take 2 weeks, put your phone down, put your computer away. And just go hang out.
You talking about his place in Tall?
Yeah, where you could just go.
Hey, listen, the place that got me was that place he got in the snow.
Yeah.
Wherever the fuck that is, where he was in the jacuzzi with the hat, smoking the stogie in the snow. Damn, that was fucking sexy. That's a panty dropper right there. You know, and you said that about the smoking the stogie, which they talk about too. If you're, you know, a lot of places have no smoking. Yeah.
Do you think anybody ever come in LA? Yeah. In LA, he's in LA. He's at the. No one you think ever comes over,
especially in the prime of his shit.
Even but right now, today, do you think he's
no? I think there are certain dudes that at a certain level of fame and stature, they get away with anything because it is an ad to their business, not him, to the business for people to go, yo, Schwarzenegger was here in my shit. I forget who told me. Oh, I think it was Bill Bellamy who said Jordan. John Sally. John Sally told the story that they had been trying to get Jordan to hang out. Jordan, come hang out with us, man. Because the one time John Sally played with the Bulls in his no more good years. But,
when he retired, he bought it out his contract.
Right. It was the 72-10 season. And he was like, Jordan, come hang with us. And, you know, Mike's always, nah, man, I can't go nowhere. I'm going to go back to the hotel. So they convinced Jordan to go to this spot. And they told the dude ahead of time, we're coming with Mike, VIP, way in the back. We don't want nobody fucking with us. But no. Let me backtrack. I'm screwing that up. They didn't tell the owner of the club. But John just said to the owner, without saying Michael's coming, give us the back, blah, 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 roped off, privacy. Cut to MJ, they convinced Mike to go. Mike goes to the club. The dude found out, the owner, that Mike was there. He turned all the lights up in the club so everybody could see Jordan was in his club. Come on, man. Mike was pissed.
See, that's why like Sally wouldn't have told the owner, because a lot of owners, when they know like someone like Michael is coming through, they'll leak it out to someone in the press so they can get those photos with their place and Michael Jordan coming to it, because that enhances their business. So that's the fucked up part. Plus, people can't help it sometimes, man. You know, like when we were even out here, we're in Tempe, in Arizona. It's Phoenix, but we're at the Tempe Improv, and you know, we're just sitting there, and how many people, they come up and they can't, before they even thought about what they were doing, they come up to you and they go, Harry Spears, and they go, oh man, sorry, I didn't mean to, you know.
Let me tell you perspective, and let me say, I know in the perspective, I'm nowhere near Schwarzenegger or a Chappelle. And what's mind-blowing to me, that's why I can only imagine how crazy it is for them. Because I'll be sometimes in the club, and dude, I'm telling you, I won't look and I won't make the eye contact, because once you make the eye contact, that's the invitation to people. But I could feel someone on my left or right side in my peripheral. They're just staring at me, dude. They're just staring, like with their eyes open wide, their jaw, their mouth open. And I'm thinking to myself, how long are you just going to look at me? and I'm waiting for either you come up, you say something, you Aries, you get my attention. But no, Andy, they just stare and they're fixated on me. And the part that fucks me up is I'm going, all right, 4 seconds, 8 seconds, I got it. Yo, it's been 2 minutes, yo, and you are just staring at me. That's bizarre to me.
But if they saw someone, you had to. There was a moment here in Tempe that I think is the single greatest moment I've ever seen. Like, it was the most honest and heartfelt moment I've ever seen. And I don't know how much attention you paid for it because I know there was other people coming up and talking to you, and a lot of people were coming. But that one dude who came up to you and goes, Ari Spears, like he was so blown away, and he goes, man. And then he said, man, you're my dad's favorite comic. And in my head, I'm thinking, oh, that's nice. You just said that not your favorite comic, your dad's favorite comic. And, in my head, I was playing that, how does that, where does that go in numbers? And, yeah, well, thanks. I know you're trying to tell me that I'm more relevant to your dad's age than you are. And then he said, no, my dad's favorite, and he's not with me anymore. More than anything, I just wish he could be with me in this moment.
Right.
And when he said that,
right,
man, I went, that's like a real, like he has no more, he's not aware of his surroundings or anything that's going on around him. He's in that moment where just wishing his dad was there. You brought back every moment with his dad, him watching you, and then you to be there. That is just, it's a different kind of moment.
And listen, that's why I say, dude, that moment I saw Arnold at the gas station, even if I thought I didn't want to, it was a muscle that kicked in I couldn't control, because we're not talking about, oh, hey, this is the Joe Blow who I've seen in this commercial. This is, come with me if you want to live. This is fucking the guy. My childhood. This is Terminator and Commando. This is a dude who has a specific look and sound. When the fuck do you see that? That'd be like you driving down the street and you look over at the left side of your window and nigga, there's an elephant, in the middle of the street, crossing the street. That ain't normal. It's a fucking elephant, nigga. On broad day on a street corner. So it's like Arnold is like, holy shit, that is fucking, that's him. That's why I just know. And for the people that get caught up in the celebrity, for the people that stare for 2 minutes at a guy like me, Arnold Schwarzenegger, he could piss while smoking a cigar in the club, and they'll fucking, he'll get away with it.
I guess so. I just don't have the ability to recognize people. And I told you this. And you've walked down the street with me many times, and you'll point out people, and I don't even notice them. I don't have the ability to recognize people. I don't know what goes on in here, but I don't see them.
Dude, when Arnold Schwarzenegger was young, and he was in them competitions, the guns on that nigga.
How clean they were.
How clean. And dude,
sculpted like marble.
Dude, and it's like, okay, you've seen dudes with muscular biceps, triceps, but his shit had it was like a baseball on top of a softball. And I'm gonna tell you, man, as far as muscular structure, I don't know what looked better on. I was most impressed by his guns and his chest. He had the perfect bus windshield, broad, perfect chiseled chest, dude.
But that's why when he came to America to compete, and they didn't work on their legs from wherever he was as much.
Right.
And his legs were undersized. And when you said, when is enough, I guess when you match. When you reach, when you reach that perfection, where, like everything is at a 10 or a 9.5 or whatever. Because when he was competing, Arnold was competing, Lou Ferrigno was, I think that's the Incredible Hulk time.
And I used to think Lou was that dude, but next to Arnold, he's small.
But my favorite was his buddy, the Frank Columbo. No,
the short guy.
Yeah, the short guy.
Right.
Because if you don't have him next to everybody, you just have him on the stage doing all his poses. Yeah. He isn't as long, so it's a little tighter in there. But he was in great shape, and I wasn't into bodybuilding, but I was into those guys at the time because really it was Lou Ferrigno, because the Incredible Hulk that used to be on
my childhood.
Yeah. And so then all of a sudden who are these other guys? And then you start learning about all the other guys. Right. And I thought Frank Columbo was the dude. I didn't know, I really thought that was the better of all the bodybuilders.
Dude, what's so amazing, and I use this word, my baby mother watched this, and she said, because I told her about it, and I said, it's awesome. And she called me and she said she cried a couple times because, she's all into the manifestation and putting it out in there in the universe. And I got to say, man, I'm skeptical on some of that. I've become skeptical because of what I've gone through. Once upon a time ago, again, when I first started out, young, naivete, you know, before the business and the world diddled me, I believed. And I still do believe, but now I'm more skeptical than I'd like to be. That being said, the fact that he said everything that he saw for himself and it happened to the T is inspirational. It gives you a little bit of hope to go, all right, maybe, you know, I could put some of my skepticism away and go back to trying to believe. Because for this motherfucker to go, I see myself winning these competitions and them yellow in the crowd, no. And it all fucking happened.
Unless it didn't, and he lost the competition, but that gave him the motivation.
But the most badass shit was he became the Michael Jordan of bodybuilding.
Yeah.
And in other words, he kept winning the Mr. Olympia over and over till finally he bowed out and said, you know, I got to give other people a chance to win. Like, that's like when Jay-Z said that thing in that one song with him and Benny Siegel, and he goes, the game is ours. We'll never foul out. You just better hope we gracefully bow out. Like, the game is mine. We will never foul out. The only chance you win is if we gracefully bow out. That's some dick on the table shit.
Dude, and
Schwarzenegger going, I've been winning so long, I'm tired of winning. I'm gonna let y'all eat.
Well, and he didn't even say
Then, I'm sorry, and then goes on to become a fucking movie star.
Well, don't forget, you missed a huge part in this. He doesn't go from becoming the bodybuilder to a movie star. He went being a bodybuilder and becoming a real estate mogul.
Was
and
rich
becoming
before
a
Hollywood.
millionaire. He didn't even need Hollywood.
Because he even said they wanted him to play these certain stereotypical roles, and he turned them down because he didn't need the money. This nigga, man, put that Austrian dick on the table, nigga.
Dude, that's all about like the secret where you're just manifesting your destiny. But if you don't believe it, why should the universe?
I know, but goddamn, his belief was as strong as his physique.
Yeah.
That's just,
But, you know, you said something that's funny to when you think about how we come up. And you said you should become skeptical. When you become skeptical and you don't believe in your belief, that's when you make decisions that don't go in your direction because you became skeptical. So you might go, I'm not going to do this because this doesn't work out. I'm going to do this over here. And if you would have just stayed in your belief and not been skeptical, you may have went right through the wall. Mm-hmm. The skepticism is actually one of the killers of dreams.
Absolutely.
Because you might think that you're still moving towards your path because you're taking a different opportunity, but that may be the wrong door that you went through. Where if you didn't have that skepticism, you might have opened up a different door.
You know, this how cast iron this motherfucker was. When he, you know, when his brother died in the car accident, but more importantly, when his father finally died. It was one of those moments when, and I know for people that do these biographies and these documentaries, they love the money shot, which is you crying. They want to see you choked up. They want to see that because that provides the heart. No matter how good the story is you're telling in a doc or a biography, that moment of, they live for that. For him to go, one, he really had, he said, I really had no feelings about my father's death. I really had no feeling about my brother's death. Now, I can understand. He was so driven because at one point, even when he lost, he was like, oh, what I'm going to do? Oh, poor you, poor little baby. No, you got to get up and keep going. And I get that, okay. But your brother's dead. You're in a tragic accident, car accident. Your father's dead. And he felt nothing then. Then they cut to him older, and I'm going, okay, gotta cry now. He's older, more mature, reflection. This is the crying part. Nothing.
No, but he felt it more as he got older.
But he wouldn't shed a tear.
No.
You didn't get the emotion.
He experienced the loss differently when he got older. He actually allowed himself to feel the loss, but he didn't cry. That's, you know, I think some of that's part of where, when you come from a place like that, when you come from everything that was hard, you turn something off. You have to, you know, it's like our parents.
Right.
I mean, they didn't cry like we do. I'm not saying I don't know how much you cry, but I cry at a movie that makes me sad sometimes.
I didn't cry during my father's death. I think later, I remember I stayed at Deborah Wilson's brother's house in D.C., nice house. And Deborah was always like a sister to me and me a brother to her. I could always find myself unpacking emotionally around her because she was just that type of person. And yeah, I kind of had like a mini breakdown, but I don't know if it was more about what I was going through and less about my father. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
Because
he played it. There was a little of that in the emotional breakdown, but I think it had less to do with him.
When my stepfather passed, I didn't cry when he passed, but when I had to speak at his funeral, I lost it because.
Did you really?
Yeah, because it was me. It was about taking inventory of not necessarily our relationship, but what he meant to me and what he did provide for me, and this when I realized this, I could no longer be upset with anything that happened in my life because I realized up there that he was not the best father, but he was the best father he could be.
Right.
And how can I be mad at someone who gave me, even if it wasn't what I wanted,
right.
It was all that he had to give. And he wasn't capable of doing more than that.
Yeah. Listen, I always said both my parents were funny, but my father was more the really funny guy. He could light up a room. My mother was funny in her own weird way, but funny. But, you know, if it wasn't for my father who introduced me to my love for movies and television, and for both my parents, but especially my father who allowed me to be unconventional as a kid in the sense that he would curse around us. He'd say nigga, he'd curse. You know, we couldn't curse, but he damn near let us get away with saying whatever we wanted without cursing. And that kind of freedom, I think, helped sculpted me into who I am today. So I'm thankful and loving towards him for that. But, you know, I recently spoke to my mother and she was like, you know, remember all the times your father never supported you, never really, I'm the one that took you to all your gigs. I'm the one that pushed you into acting. I'm the one that got you your headshots and took you to auditions. He never did any of that because your father was always jealous of you because he wanted to be an actor and he never made it. And he never had the chutzpah or the cojones to do it. So the fact that you were doing it at 14, acting when I was 8, 9, 10, but stand up and the whole thing, he was jealous of you with a fury. I remember one time, and you know, you always reach that age as a young dude where you contemplate how old do I have to be before I can knock my dad out? Or can you knock my dad out? There's gonna come a time when I'm old enough where I know I can whoop my dad's ass. And as I always said, my dad was like John Amos from Good Times. He had that scary factor. When my dad, motherfucker was a bear, nigga. And I think I was about 15, 16. And I remember he was arguing with my mother. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. Boom, I kicked the door open. As soon as that nigga leaped up, I jumped behind my mom, nigga. It was like, yo, ma! You know what I'm saying? I wanted him to feel me, but I wasn't ready to finish it. You know what I'm saying? So, and what they were arguing about was the fact that my mother was like, yo, you don't support him. You don't go anywhere. You don't go to his shows. You think what he's doing is a waste of time. And they were arguing about that. So that really set me off because I'm like, damn, you arguing with the woman who's responsible for me being here or trying to get there. And meanwhile, you don't do shit and you yelling at her, motherfucker, let me tell you, ma! So, you know what I mean? So that's why when my father passed, the things he did do, I said, okay. But I remembered all the shit he didn't do.
Yeah.
So that's what kept me from feeling that like that.
Well, you know what? It's so weird because, like I said, that feeling I got with my dad is that was the best he could do, and all the other stuff is gone. Good. There was not that much great, you know, good stuff. But it's all gone. But I will tell you this: I never thought about a day that I could kick my dad's ass.
Ever.
No, and even as he's been dead for 20 years,
Right.
if I hate to use someone else's line, but if I had a dream that I kicked his ass,
You better wake up and apologize.
Even in death, I just wouldn't do it. He was just a very big man, and you know when life beats you down,
Right.
That's the guy you don't want to fuck with because he has nothing to love and nothing to lose.
Right.
And that was my dad, man. He had nothing. He had nothing that he really felt he could love, and he had nothing to fucking lose. And I just wouldn't want to be at the end of that. And it got progressively worse as he got older with feeling that like he had nothing.
Let me tell you, just a little sidebar, because you said that great line, wake up and apologize. You know my boy Red Rock, the one who we hang out with in Dallas?
Yeah.
And you know, because you
Yeah.
hung out with him,
Yeah.
motherfucker's kind of funny.
Yeah.
There's just certain lines that your parents can hit you with that make you freeze and put something on your mind enough to go, nah, I don't want this smoke. This nigga Red Rock, we playing the game one time, NBA 2K PlayStation on the headset online. And I said to him, man, next game, I'm gonna kick your ass. This motherfucker said, nigga, you couldn't kick my ass if I sat on your feet.
Dude, he has these one-liners after one-liner, man. He'll never run out. He's a very funny guy.
Listen, we all know Arnold Schwarzenegger, as you and I have said, actor or movie star. We know Arnold Schwarzenegger has never been the best actor. But dude, when they showed his first movie, Hercules in New York, it literally sounded like he was reading off a paper.
It
was that bad.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And now in terms of leaps and bounds, he's better, obviously, but you still would never qualify him as an actor.
No, but okay. It's also how they use you. First of all, wait, before we get too far into this, then they talk about Conan and he talks about Conan.
Right.
Let's be honest. The reason you got Conan is because there wasn't a lot of lines.
Right.
Conan didn't have a lot of lines. There was a lot of just brutal.
Terminator.
Terminator was the perfect movie for him. Not a lot of lines. But when you say manifesting your own destiny, right? And you just believe that you're going to be this person. How do they find and why I asked you, could this happen today? What movie is the star of the show have no lines?
Right. Listen, he obviously has way more lines than a Conan or a Terminator, but it's almost like with John Wick, it's best for him not to talk.
Yeah, but
he talks, but everything is gun and fights.
Yeah, but he's also done a lot of other movies where he does act, and maybe not where you still see exactly
Bram Stoker's Dracula. Mina, I'm going to the castle. I'll see you there.
But Arnold, man, I don't know how you go, I'm going to be an actor. And then, like you said, you saw the Hercules. And the reason it sounds so bad is because he's only focused on trying to speak. It's not where he's just trying to get the words so that he's understandable. How, like, you to say that you're going to be an actor when you can't even really speak English, and you're going to be an American actor, it's almost impossible. So, when you say manifest and he's doing all, how? I mean, how do you have that?
This is what makes me go, as skeptical as I am, there's got to be something to it. If he truly, and if the main component is belief, and he 1,000% believed that if there was a rag of doubt, you couldn't squeeze a drop out, then maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's the proof.
But he also used, like, he found something that he was good at. It didn't have to be his destiny, but it was what he was good at. And he used bodybuilding to put him adjacent to people that could get him to whatever the next levels were. He put that being of the bodybuilder in America is what got him to be around real estate people and moguls like that, so that he could move through that. And then that gave him ways to find people in the entertainment business. And that's how he moved there. He never stopped moving. But when you go, I can't speak English real well, I'm not a real actor, and I'm going to get movies that have leading roles that have no fucking dialogue. That's not even possible. So you're right. You have there must be something to this belief shit, because this doesn't work.
Who is the bigger action star, Sly or Arnold?
I think it's Arnold, the biggest action star. I think because I don't think even like Rocky isn't an action movie. It's
You're right, but fighting is action.
It's action, but in the sense of what an action movie is, guns, tanks, and explosions. Rambo. That's his.
But when you look at Sly's catalog, Judge Dredd, Rambo, Cobra, Cliffhanger, all Sly's made a lot of action movies.
But if you say Sylvester Stallone, you think
Rocky.
Rocky's is. You think Terminator. Listen, Terminator is only action. There's no dialogue in there.
Right.
So it has to be Arnold.
Dude, I just, listen, Arnold, franchises. Sly's got 2, Rambo and Rocky. I always said, you barely can get 1. Mother got 2. Harrison Ford, Indiana Jones, Han Solo. I know Arnold, we had Terminator. I always wondered why Commando never got a sequel.
No, Commando was good too.
And damn good. Oh, no. Commando, no sequel. And why he didn't do Predator 2. Danny Glover. How the fuck did that happen? The least most actionist nigga. Seeing Danny Glover run with that high ass and them long legs. Like, come on, man.
And Predator is its own.
That should have been Arnold's second franchise.
But I know you said Stallone and Arnold with these franchises.
Right.
Robert Downey Jr. has the most franchises.
Oh, well, Iron Man.
Iron Man, and then he has the.
Don't say that. Dr. Doolittle.
No.
Sherlock Holmes. Oh, okay. Yeah. He made what, 2 of those?
I think 3 of those.
Really?
And the only reason I'm saying that's more is because Robert Downey did it when you're making $20+ million a movie.
Yeah.
Rocky was, he didn't make money. He made some money off Rocky at the beginning, but not the same way that they're making it today. Robert Downey Jr. is the only one I know is doing it today. Harrison Ford too, I guess, but he's doing this as a different kind of.
Listen, I don't get why we had to wait till they got old, a la the Expendables, for Sly and Schwarzenegger to team up. Don't you think both of them in their prime would have been a blockbuster?
Same reason, though, you don't have Al Pacino and De Niro. They were in Heat, but it's minimal. I mean,
that one scene,
that's
really.
It.
Right.
It's because when they're that big, I think there's competitiveness between the two.
Oh, fuck that.
And then how do you put them both in a movie that's meaningful to both of them?
You figure that out. For the love of art, for the love of the art, you gotta see 2 titans square off in scenes together. I couldn't even believe that Ego would play that big of a role in the interruption of art.
I don't know.
You talking about again in sports terms, Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson of action movies in their prime. That reeks of box office bonanza.
You know what I would take at old age, though? Put them all 4 in a movie.
Who?
All 4 of them.
Sly, Schwarzenegger,
De Niro, and Pacino.
God, the 2 best actors against the 2 biggest action stars.
Schwarzenegger jumps out of a plane and then you just hear Al Pacino behind him. Hoo-wah!
Geronimo. Oh, God.
There's something there that could be the funniest, greatest film ever made.
Oh, God.
That's what they should call it, the funniest, greatest film ever made.
Right.
And it just those 4.
Well, you could tell etiquette was totally lost on Arnold. Like, the muscles, the whatever. Again, when you look at a guy like Denzel, who obviously is not just smooth on camera, on film, but Denzel's a smooth nigga off camera. That's who he is. Dude, Schwarzenegger, when he said Maria Shriver's mother said, "My daughter is very fond of you. She constantly looks at you and blah, blah, blah." He goes, "Yeah," and I said, "Your daughter has a nice ass." Like, nigga, like you just,
dude,
no etiquette at all.
You got to watch Pumping Iron.
Okay.
If you watch it, you'll see he's not. He never held back from saying anything.
Listen, I don't ever think Arnold would come off rapey, but I think clumsily, if that's such a word, is the word, where Arnold just playfully seems like he would play with a woman and damn near break her with all the muscles and the come here, I want to play with you. And he's tickling her. You break the bitch. You know what I'm saying? Not malicious, not on purpose. He's just, he don't know his own strength, like, and he has no etiquette.
A giant puppy playing with the duck.
Right. Come here, you little girly woman. It's crazy.
You know, yeah, you need to see Pumping Iron to really get the full Arnold effect at that, especially at that time.
Right. And, you know, I always love those it almost didn't happen stories, a la The Terminator. And to this day, I think T2 is one of the greatest sequels ever. And I know we kind of brushed upon this where it's like, you know, very rarely do the sequels outdo the first. You can almost name those occasions on one hand. Empire Strikes Back, definitely better than Star Wars. Rocky 2.
Godfather, questionable. Questionable to me. I like 1 better than 2.
Okay. But most people consider 2 better than 1.
Yeah.
I was just going to say Rocky 2, I think, definitely is better than 1. But T2, man, I'm going to be honest, dude. I wasn't really blown away by Terminator. Yeah. I liked it, but I wasn't blown away.
You know what? I think if you're not blown away with it, dude, try this and see if this works for you. You guys listen to this if you want to try this. Go watch Terminator 1 right now, for the first Terminator. But don't watch it just for what you're going to see in front of you. Mm-hmm. Just watch it and try to remember how you felt when you were watching those scenes. To take the amount of technology they had to make that movie mm-hmm. and to do that movie back then and have it affect the culture and just movie making and everything. Mm-hmm. It's an incredible movie because when you
Terminator 1,
when you watch that stop frame when they're that's where the music comes from. The thing, and you know you're watching the stop, and it looks so rinky today the way that he's
absolutely.
But when you got to go back and remember that moment when you were watching it. Man, that was so off the charts, and they didn't have any technology to do with it. That stop frame technology. Right. It's amazing when you take it from that time period and look at it from there and how it affected you. And really, like I said, the whole culture, the culture of movie making, they went from there to where we got to Terminator.
But that's what makes Terminator 2 so spectacular because that was at the I'm coming out.
Yeah.
I want the world to know. But that's when the technology broke through.
That's what they were almost waiting for.
And the liquid robot, I remember being in the theater, dude, when Patrick, I forget what his last name is. Guy's first name is Patrick, but he plays the liquid Terminator. Dude, that part where Eddie Furlong thought he was talking to his real mom, but he said something was wrong, and then the boyfriend said something, and she off camera. Then they cut to her arm turns into this long blade that's through this motherfucker's mouth through the milk carton. That was just like, what the fuck did we just see? That chase where he's in the truck and he's chasing Arnold and Eddie on the dirt bike, and finally the truck explodes, and they thought Arnold with the shotgun waiting for something to happen, but it doesn't. Then they ride off. Then that motherfucker walks out the fire and then turns back. That was...
Dude, I love all. I didn't love that effect at first. I loved what it did, but I was like, this. It was so much dependent on that one effect because that's really the big effect that they had. But when I really did like it is when they froze him, and then he blows them up, and his pieces go all over, and you think, okay, that settles it. And then you see all the pieces start as they melt,
come back together,
back together. And I was like, oh, that would make sense. And then you go, hey, they really thought this out.
Right.
And even as a kid, I would still like go. I hated when I couldn't figure out how the movie really was. I didn't like those when they fucked with my science on it.
Right.
And then it goes together, and there it comes up, and I was like, oh man, maybe this is pretty cool. But at first I didn't love it because that was the only effect that they had, just moving this liquid.
Right.
And that was the big effect. But I'm telling you, yes, that's a big deal and the effects are there, but go watch one again. Listen to the music, listen to how they got you and how they brought you in. And it is horrible effects. But you just got to remember, man.
Dude, And it's amazing to think, as much as it was mind-blowing then, even today in 2023, it's gotten better. Because I'm telling you, dude, I've been like on my own personal movie marathon at home. I love Jurassic Park, man. I'm like, I don't know what it is, but something about the idea that shit like that existed, that humongous, a gazillion years ago, is mind-blowing to me. But when you go look at the first original Jurassic Park,
same thing again.
Dude, I remember in the theater, everybody,
oh my God.
But when you go see Jurassic World, the texture, it almost makes Jurassic Park, that opening Brachiosaurus scene, seem like, ugh.
Honestly, it might as well be. I mean, obviously the effect is better, but it's almost exactly the same as the T1 to T2.
Right.
Because the effects, I mean, obviously it's a better effect to see the dinosaur.
Right.
But once you get into the newer episodes, you're like,
Right.
that dinosaur looks like
stupid.
It looked like it was pasted on there.
Right,
It doesn't look like.
right. But when at that time,
It was amazing.
blew your mind.
And that's how you have to view
Right.
Terminator 1,
Okay.
the same way. Because it was amazing. And again, I don't really like the what was the name of the Jurassic Parks. I'm not I wasn't that thrilled with them, to be honest.
Really?
I like the first and second one a little bit, but it was, I don't know. There's just some things I don't like about it, but the effects, how amazing, to see how far we've come from here to there is amazing. Even, and then in the Terminators, and if you really want to look at technology, look at the Terminator. What's the one where Arnold comes back it's the John Carter one, not really Connor one, the John Connor one, when they open up that thing and there's an Arnold Schwarzenegger, but he's young and he's already old. That's Terminator. What one is that? Is that 4?
Yeah, Genesis.
Yes.
Yeah.
That Arnold doesn't look like what they can do with people's faces and everything now. That one looks almost like you said, the Jurassic Park idea. So the technology now is so insane. When you go back and look at those, you really have to put yourself back into that period of time, because otherwise it's just not good.
What would you say is Arnold's greatest action movie ever? And what would you say Sly's greatest action movie ever was?
Well, Sly's is easy for me. Action, and the way I determine action, it has to be First Blood.
Greatest action Sly movie ever.
Yeah, because it was the original. It was his original one.
Right.
I really go for the originals. You can add to the other ones, but the introduction of the character and to get the origin story at the beginning means more to me. Like when you said right now, when you just said, which one were you talking about that was better? Rocky. Rocky 1 to me is the origins. You get every character and they're developing those characters. So when 2 was kind of a cheat to me because you already know all the characters. So you're just layering on extra, and it's easier to tell the story because you don't have to tell the origin of everybody. Right. And you layer all that in and you already know who Polly is. You know his girl, you know her story. So now you just adding to that. It's a cheat because you're looking at it without them having to tell the original story. That's why the original story is so important to me. That First Blood, that's the first.
I gotta be honest with you, dude. That didn't blow me away either.
Dude, it did, because that was the first time.
I loved Rambo 3.
I'm not going to knock the Rambo. The Rambos, I think, are a really good series until they started to get a little
gross, until they turned into Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. I thought they were all good. They really gave, there's very few movies that give any credit to the Vietnam story, the people coming back.
Right.
I think that one is, they did a great job with it.
And I forget which current Rambo it was, but the one where he literally pulls the dude's heart out of his chest with his bare hand. Sly should have went, fatality. For me, it's Rocky 3.
Rocky 3?
Rocky 3 is Sly's greatest action. And I know based on what you said, that doesn't qualify as action.
It's a sport. It's a sport movie. It's about sports. It's a boxing movie.
Arnold Schwarzenegger's greatest action movie ever. For me, it's T2. With a close runner-up, but I'll let you. It's T2 for me.
I'd probably go with you on that because he's actually acting, and because of where he was from T1 to T2, you're like, damn.
Yeah.
But that's not my favorite. One of my favorite movies to watch him in isn't action though. It's Twins.
Okay, before we get to that, my second runner-up was True Lies.
Yeah, I could see that.
True Lies is a great, and let me tell you, That to me, that movie did wonders for Tom Arnold.
It was.
He was so good in that. So good in that.
But the movie didn't perform at the theaters. That's what hurt Tom Arnold.
That's crazy. Because that's a great action movie. And listen, man, we discussed it. Some of the best titties Andy and I have ever seen. Jamie Lee Curtis, Trading Places. Man, that stripper scene when she's stripping for Arnold in True Lies and she gets down to the G-string. Shit.
I just saw this thing. It's called Nudity and it's a documentary, Nudity in Cinema or something like that. And Jamie Lee Curtis is on talking about that. And the funny part for her is the reason she lives in Halloween is because she's the only one who doesn't take her clothes off, basically.
Mm.
And so then she does Trading Places, and that's the scene.
Mm.
And so it was kind of funny when she talks about the nudity and how that works out.
Right.
True Lies I like because it was a spoof on what an action movie is. So it's kind of funny,
Right.
They're playing with those characters in a way that I think the story could have been told better. And I think today with all the effects and everything that they can do to make the movie even bigger,
Right.
I think it could have been a better movie today than it was then.
Spears and Steinberg.
Thanks for listening to the Spears and Steinberg podcast. If you'd like to know who's responsible for this shit, it was hosted by Ari Spears and Andy Steinberg, produced by Steve Merrick and Anthony Holmes, executive producer, Big Papa, Robert Kelly, and Matt Kleinschmidt for the Laugh Button podcast. For more information on where to find us on the internet, visit SpearsburgPod.com.